Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday so far. And I think it's finally time we dive in. For the first time, and what will certainly not be the last time, we're doing a mock draft. And we're going to do many mock drafts as this offseason moves along. I thought it would be fun to do one now, right after the season ends, basically right after we find out where our picks are and see how it morphs as we move towards the draft. And let me be very clear on something here. We are going to see a lot of movement with a lot of these players over the coming couple of months. The combine, the pro days, the interviews, the visits, they're going to inform a lot of it. So what we see right now may not be the case when the actual draft rolls around. So understand that we're going to go through many permutations here. And I can only work with the information that I have. So also understand, I haven't done research into all these players yet in the draft, especially as you get later into the draft. Like, I've looked into guys like the Jalen Carters and the CJ Strouds a good amount because everybody's looked into them because we're watching all their plays on most every Saturday because they're playing in the biggest college game of the week constantly. But I promise you, you get down the list, you get down into the third, fourth, especially the fifth and the sixth round, seventh round, UDFAs. I don't really know that much about those guys yet. I take a cursory look at things, I try to feel things out, and I just go with what feels right. As we move closer to the day of the draft, I will do more research, look at more tape, look at more film, and I'll start to hammer in on things a little bit more. But right now, this is what I have. Let's go ahead and go through it. And just keep in mind, this is just a starting point. And this is just one of many paths, by the way. I promise you this. There are many, many paths this draft can take that are good, and only a few that I would call bad. There are far more happy paths here than bad paths. So understand that even though this is the scenario I'm putting forth, it is certainly not the only scenario that I'm going to be happy with. So with that in mind, let's go through these 9 picks. No trades. I'm keeping it simple because this is the first mock draft. I will entertain trades with future mocks. This is just going to be straight up. No trades. Which, by the way, very unlikely that happens in real life. All right. So, first round, pick number 5. I'm punching in Tyree Wilson. This is a guy who I've really come around on. And I think the whole NFL's coming around on him, too. Tyree Wilson is a guy who has skyrocketed up big boards lately. And as of right now, on Mock Draft Database, he's the 7th ranked prospect. And I believe by the time the draft gets here, he may be 5th. So we might get to our 5th pick in the first round, and we might look at Tyree Wilson and say, he's BPA. He addresses a big need on that defensive line. We basically need to turn over our whole defensive line, and I think Tyree Wilson is a great starting point for that. He can play on the end. He can play alongside a guy like a Shelby Harris. If we decide to bring back a Quentin Jefferson, he's going to make those guys better. He's going to make their lives easier. So, Tyree Wilson. And then, with the 20th pick of the first round, I'm taking Trenton Simpson, linebacker out of Clemson. We need linebackers. Even if you like the guys that we have, which I don't, but if you do, you have to acknowledge Jordan Brooks tore his ACL, might not be ready for the season. Cody Barton, free agent. And there isn't a whole lot going on behind them that is currently on the roster. A lot of the guys that you could even entertain, guys like BBK, Tanner Muse, I believe they're all potential free agents. They might not be here this year. So Trenton Simpson is somebody who would start day one, and I believe he is the kind of linebacker that is what teams need to be all about in the modern NFL. So I'm bolstering my defense significantly with those first 2 picks. And I'm feeling really good about it. This is not a very good group of linebackers in this draft, straight up. There are only a few that I like. Trenton Simpson is one of them. So if you can come away with Trenton Simpson, I'm feeling much better about this team's future prospects. Round 2, pick 37 overall. I am going on defense yet again. I am trying to remake that defensive line that is the source of so many problems on this team. Siaki Ika, nose tackle from Baylor, 360 pounds. Big, takes up space, takes up blockers, also relatively athletic. More athletic than you would expect from a guy who's 360 pounds. You can tell Al Woods, hey, you can either come back and play 15 snaps a game or retire. You can tell Poona Ford, hey, go good luck on another team with that runs a 4-3 under. You can tell Brian Monet, get out of here because apparently we don't like you even though we gave you a contract. Still have no idea what happened there, but either way, you get Siaki Ika from Baylor, and you've got a starting nose tackle. You are going to need a little bit of depth. Maybe Al Woods can come back for 15 snaps a game, like I said. But Siaki Ika would help eliminate a lot of the problems that your linebackers have. Going to be harder for blockers to get out to the linebacker with Ika there. All right, round 2, pick 52. We've got Cedric Van Pran, center from Georgia. After doing a little bit of research, just a little bit of cursory information looking up, I believe that Cedric Van Pran is closer to the kind of center that we want in this offense. I like a couple guys maybe a little bit more, like John Michael Schmitz, but Van Pran seems to be a little more agile and mobile and able to play in space. So that's what I'm going for here. I'm trying to build an offensive lineman of movers. You've got Cross and Lucas. They can move. If you get Van Pran in there, who can also move, then the effect of a guy like a Damian Lewis who can't move is reduced a little bit. You can live with 3 offensive linemen who can play in space. So Cedric Van Pran is my center right now. There are a couple different centers I would be totally okay swapping in there. I would still be okay with Schmitz. There are going to be some guys in like the 3rd round or the 4th round who I would be cool with too. But for now, this is just the first mock. We're going Van Pran. Round 3, pick number 83 overall. I'm going local. Dylan Henley, linebacker from Washington State. Moves well. Good athleticism. Somebody who should be able to be pretty good in coverage. Somebody who excels in a zone-based defense, which is what we do. Someone who will also probably excel as a blitzer, which is what we need to do. So Dylan Henley, I think, could serve at the very least a special teams role that first year. And you've got to start planning for the future. Jordan Brooks might not be here after 2023. So maybe Henley is a guy you develop for a year behind Brooks and Simpson in this scenario, and then you let him take over in 2024 when he's really ready to play in the NFL. So that's a little bit of a guy who I haven't talked about yet, but that's a little bit of a guy who I think could surprise people as a mid-round linebacker. That's another one of the linebackers in this class who I kind of like. Round 4, pick number 120, going local again. Henry Bainvalu, guard from Washington. He's going to project to right guard in the NFL. He's a bigger guy. He's a mauler. He's a really dominant run blocker. He latches on and doesn't let go. Good mover. Was a nice part of a really good Washington Huskies offense in 2022. And I believe that he could plug and play at right guard day one pretty much. And that would give you a really nice starting offensive line in 2023 if you're able to get Bainvalu and Van Pran. And it'll be more manageable to start 2 rookies as long as you've got those guys with experience around them, which is looking like what we're going to have going into the year. So that is my round 4 pick. He's honestly one of many right guards I would be totally okay with, but that's my guy right now. Okay, now we get down to the end here. Round 5, we've got Roschon Johnson, who is backing up Bijan Robinson at Texas. Pretty big, pretty tall, runs with good power, relatively explosive. Seems like he could be the hammer to K9's Lightning. Somebody who can just power it up in there and get that extra 2 yards to get the first down. Short yardage, put him in there, let him be the hammer, just run forward, fall forward for the extra 2 yards. Get the first down. Keep the drive going. Roschon Johnson, I think you're going to have to move on from Travis Homer this offseason. And even if you bring Penny back, I need a power back. I want a power back. I don't think DJ can quite cut it. And I think DJ is going to be better as a third down back anyway. So Roschon Johnson, you're the hammer. Round 5, pick 151. So just a few picks after Roschon Johnson, I'm taking Jayden Reed, wide receiver from Michigan State. Very skilled yard after the catch player, and also likely to be a quality special teamer. So I look at that, I see yards after the catch, and I go, that makes sense. And obviously when you get down to the 5th round, you're looking for flyers. You're not looking for anybody who's a sure thing. Jayden Reed, the things that stand out to me about him would be yards after the catch. And final pick of this mock draft, round 6, number 184, we have Jake Moody, the kicker from Michigan. I think as of right now, he's the best kicker in this draft. Really impressed me this season. He had that baller kick against TCU in the playoff game. It was like, 59 yards, and he made it with room to spare. Probably would have been good from like 62, 63. Had a good year. And I think that Jake Moody would be a day one starter for you for sure if you move on from Jason Myers. So, yeah, I'm definitely trying to secure a quality kicker in this draft. So Jake Moody's my guy. And that's the mock. So to recap, we took 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 interior offensive linemen, a running back, a receiver, and a kicker. I think that's pretty good in terms of addressing your needs. And I feel like if you nailed this draft, and if these guys were who I think they're going to be in the NFL, you've done a pretty good job of making it so you don't have to do anything over the top in free agency to make the team good. Now, you might go above and beyond and try to secure the services of a Daron Payne and make your defensive line really awesome. But this is a good starting point, or I shouldn't call it a starting point, but this is a good supplement to a quiet free agency that I think would make the team really, really good in 2023 in all the areas where they need to get better. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments. See you guys later. Go Hawks.